This is going to be an 8th grade video. In this video lesson, we're going to be reviewing some angle topics from the 7th grade math book. So what we'll see here on this first slide, I'm going to go through these slides, and what you'll need to do for this video lesson is add text to all these blue boxes on the last few pages here. So I'm going to go through this lesson. This is stuff from the 7th grade math book. We did not get to this topic last year, so we're going to very quickly, in a couple days here, we're going to review the 7th grade stuff, and then your next video lesson will be back in your 8th grade math book. So you're going to complete the blue text boxes, and it says here there's a link to the video. It will be here. That video link doesn't exist yet because I'm making it right now. So we're going to have 4 different types of vocabulary words for this lesson, and these are involving angles. So these are angle pairs. Don't worry about the equations part right now. The first type is called a vertical angle, and these are the opposite angles that are formed by 2 intersecting lines. Vertical angles are congruent because the angles have the same measure. So I'm going to go to my geometry tool, and I'm going to draw a couple line segments that intersect, and then I'm going to measure these angles. So angle from here to here to here is 31 degrees, and its vertical angle is the one on the opposite side. Notice that that is also 31. The opposite side is its vertical angle. And notice what happens when I stretch this angle out. When I adjust one of them, the other one changes as well. So as our vocabulary word back here said, vertical angles are congruent. The angles have the exact same measure. And that's the same thing is true for the opposite side, these adjacent angles over here, which is what we're going to talk about next. The ones on the other side are also going to remain congruent to each other. So we have a 37 and a 143, but on the other side, opposite of those, our vertical angles for those are the same measurement. So we see that happens as we adjust these angles. Stays the same, stays congruent, no matter what. That is vertical angles. The next one is adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are pairs of angles that share a vertex. A vertex is a corner and one side, but do not overlap. The vertex of an angle is the point where the sides meet. So in my thing here, I do have some adjacent angles. The adjacent angles, the red angle, we'll say angle, we'll just call it the red angle, and this green angle are adjacent. They share a vertex, which is right here. They share the point in the middle, the point where they both bend, that vertex where you have an angle that shows how large it is. So this point right here is the vertex, and they share one side, which is this side right here. Those are connected. They share a side. So those are adjacent angles. Complementary angles are the next angle we're going to do. So I'm going to get rid of these really quickly. We're going to I'll draw a line, and then I'm going to use my perpendicular line and draw a perpendicular line and then put another angle that's off here. So perpendicular means there's a right angle, okay? Like the corner of my video screen right here has a perpendicular angle. It's 90 degrees. So if I get my angle measure tool out and measure this angle along with this angle, 67 and 23 are complementary angles. Complementary angles are 2 angles whose measures have a sum of 90. So these are adjacent angles that make a total of 90. So let's do that. 67 plus 23. Let's see if that's 90. 7 plus 3 is 10. 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 90 degrees. So those are adjacent angles that are complementary. They make a total of 90. Now the next one we're going to do is called supplementary. That's where two angles can be added together to make this new total that makes a straight line straight across. 157 plus 23. 7 plus 3 is 10. 5, 6, 7, 8. 180. This is supplementary. This angle plus the next one makes 180 degrees. So let's see what our vocab words here says. Supplementary angles are two angles, and again, they're adjacent angles, whose measures have a sum of 180 degrees. You discovered in the Explore activity that adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines are supplementary. So we found out, I call it Explore activity. We'll say this is an Explore activity. These are supplementary because they make a straight 180 degrees, and these two angles add up to that. Go to the next slide here. Don't worry about writing on this one, okay? There's no blue boxes on this one. I'm just going to use my page marker tool. So for this one, we've got, first question is vertical angles. I can see there's a line here. Whoop, go away. From BE and a different one from AD. So I can see there are vertical angles here. There's one here, and there's also one set here. So I'm going to just pick one. So I'm going to pick an angle. So I'll put my angle symbol. This is how I'm going to write my angles from for these answers. And I'll show you on the next slide how you can type this symbol. Angle BFA. So your angles are going to have three letters. Angle BFA, and the opposite one will be DFE. And angle DFE. Notice that they have the same middle vertex, the same middle point, because that's where they intersect each other, right there in the middle. Complementary angles, these are two that add up to 90. So let's find two that add up to 90 degrees. I'll erase my vertical angles notes that I've got on here. Complementary, two that add up to 90. So I can see there's a 90-degree angle right here. So angle CFA is 90 degrees. And I know that because it's a straight line straight across here. And this is marked with a little perpendicular symbol. So if I break this into a couple different angles that add up to 80, we can call them complementary. So we'll say the first one is angle CFB. And then that combined with angle BFA, angle BFA are complementary. They make a total of 90 degrees. The next one we're going to do is adjacent angles. These are angles that are just touching each other. They're right next to each other. So in fact, we could use this exact same answer, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit because I don't want to be boring. So we'll say angle CFA. There's a few different answers we could say. We could say CFD because this angle is connected to it. I'm going to go with AFE and angle AFE. So that is another angle. And these angles are adjacent, this angle with this angle. They're touching each other. They share the middle, they share the vertex F, and they share the side AF. Next one, supplementary. These are two angles that add up to 180. So supplementary, let's do this angle and this angle. Another set we could do is this one and this one. And I'm marking with one of them has one angle mark and the other one has two because those are not the same angle. So I want to recognize, I want to point out that they're different angles. Actually, let's do this green one because I don't want to keep using the same numbers up here. So we've got angle AFE and angle DFE. Now, if I called this angle EFD instead, that would be fine. I can go in either direction as long as that F is in the middle, and I know that I'm starting here, I'm going to F, and then I'm going to E. All right, let's answer some questions. Name a pair of supplementary angles. We're going to type in here. When you're typing, I don't need you to use the angle symbol, but if you're interested in learning how to use the angle symbol, you can go to Insert, Special Characters, and then you can find it here. It's going to be impossible, almost impossible, but you can like draw the symbol, and there it is. It's that first one. So I'm going to pick that, and then I can close that. So there's my angle symbol. I'm not going to do that for every single one of these because it'll take a little extra time, but if you want to do that, you go to Insert, Special Character, and then draw the symbol, and it'll pull it up for you. So supplementary, again, means there are two angles that add up to 180. So let's choose EF or EGF. You should use all capitals here. And FGB. I see that those make 180. I've got EGF and FGB. That makes 180. For the next one, name a pair of vertical angles. That's where vertical angles are, they like make two V's against each other. It's really hard to show with my fingers. But I see the FGE. So FGE and BGC are vertical angles. I can draw them on this diagram and show you from here to here and here to here. These are just two lines that cross each other. So I know that 35, and this is also going to be 35. I know it because they're vertical angles. They also look like they're the same from here to here, here to here. So those are vertical angles. The next ones are going to be adjacent angles. We need two angles that are connected to each other. So let's choose BGC. So we'll use angle BGC, and angle that's connecting that, we can be touching B or we can be touching C. Let's touch B, so we'll do AGB. So the two angles that are adjacent that we just chose are this one, BGC, and AGB. They're sharing that side right there. Number 8, we've got a pair of complementary angles. These are angles that add up to 180. We've got a couple we could choose. We could choose these two, or we could choose these two. Notice they're, because it's complementary angles, that equals 90. Those are also vertical angles. So let's choose these ones up here. AGF. So angle AGF and FGE. Those are our angles we're choosing. These two add up to 100, or add up to 90. The last question here, we need to find what is the measurement of angle CGD. We need to find out that measurement of that angle. Well, we can use our properties of our angles, and we already discussed it. We know that this one has to be 35 degrees. We know that's true. We can do that because of vertical angles. We also can probably tell that this angle and this angle are vertical angles too, so they're going to have the same measurement. Let's call it X for right now. We'll call it X. So I know that if this here is 90, this is also going to be 90. These two angles, BGC and CGD, are complementary. So we're going to set up a little equation over here. It's going to be 35 plus X is 90. So we need to see, what does X have to be to make these a total of 90, a sum of 90. So we'll just subtract 35, and X is going to be equal to, is that 55, 60, 70, 80, 90. So X equals 55. We'll just type that in there. X equals 55 degrees. And again, if you want that special character for the degree symbol, you can go to special characters, draw a circle, and it'll be, let me see, digit 0. Or we can search for degree. How about that? There it is. So we can type in the word as well. So then we'll close that. I have the word degrees. Let's get rid of that. 55 degrees. Or you can just type the word degrees. Next one. So those are those. We go to the next one. We've got the sum of UWV. And I always like try and see UWV and UWZ. So UWZ is 90 degrees. So they are what kind of angles? They are, if they add up to 90, we can go review sum of 90s here in the middle. This is complementary. The next one's angle UWV and VWX. They're adjacent angles. They add up to a total of, so share a vertex and one side. So what is our definition? Adjacent angles share a vertex and one side. So let's see. And they do not overlap. So these are adjacent angles. Careful, they do look like they are as well. They're all also supplementary, but with this definition, they want us to say adjacent because that's what it said back here. Next page. Number 3, we have angles. Let me make my face a little bigger. Here we go. Angles AGB and DGE. There we go. What kind of angles are those? Those are the ones that make like two V's that are standing on top of each other, and that's how I remember it. Two V's make vertical angles. So if they're vertical angles, angle DGE is the same thing as 30 degrees. Number 4, we need to find the measure of angle DGF. So we have, throw my pen, angle EGF. We need to figure out what is that measurement. We know that measurement of CGD, let's see, CGD, well, that's 50. Let me write that underneath 50. And measure DGE. Well, we don't know quite what that is. Well, yes, we do. It's over here. It's the 30 we just had on the last question. So plus 30 plus EGF. So EGF is this one, plus 2x equals 180. 50 plus 30 is 80. 80 plus 2x equals 180. So we'll subtract 80. Subtract 80. 2x is 100. And measurement of EGF is 2x. So that equals 50. 2 times 50 is, what are we saying? 2x equals, 50. X equals 50. That's the goal here. We need to figure out that x equals 50. We already have EGF is 100. So, that's probably actually number 5. Oh well. So x is 50. This angle here is 100 degrees. So go ahead and type those in. And we'll go to our last slide, last question, number 5. We need to find the value of x and the measure of MNQ. So MNQ is 3x minus 13, and QNP is 58. So 3x plus, well, let's combine 58 and negative 13. Those are like terms. So that'll be 58 minus 13, 45. Then we'll subtract 45 from both sides. because that'll be minus 45 minus 45. We'll get rid of this. So 3x equals 45. And then finally, we divide by 3, divide by 3. So we get x equals 15. So if I know that x equals 15, now we just plug that in to our x. So this will be our 15. 3 times 15 is 45. 45 minus 13 is 32. There you have it. So you're going to be working with vertical angles, adjacent angles, complementary angles, and supplementary angles for your homework for this section. Complementary, add up to 90. Supplementary, add up to 180. They won't get, I don't think they'll be this complicated even. Just working with 90s and 180s. As always, let me know if you have any questions.